Welcome to another Walter Football video. I'm Charlie Campbell, the most accurate mock drafter in the world. If you don't believe me, you can check the links below. Also, if you want to speed it up to 1.25 or 1.5, you can get that in the settings over here. I think that makes these mocks a lot better. You can follow along with the mock below. I'll have the outline there in the comments, and you can also click the link if you want to follow along on the website. All right, let's get into this week's mock. First overall, I have the Panthers taking Bryce Young, quarterback from Alabama. Obviously, Carolina traded up for their future franchise quarterback, and speaking with people around the league, some think they're targeting Bryce Young. Others think it's C.J. Stroud. We should find out some more clarity on that in the next few weeks. Second overall, I have the Texans taking C.J. Stroud. Whichever of those two quarterbacks that Carolina passes on, I think Houston takes. Obviously, they need their future franchise quarterback. Either one of those would be a good building block. Third overall, I have the Cardinals taking Will Anderson, edge rusher from Alabama. They need an edge rusher badly after losing Chandler Jones a year ago, then J.J. Watt after last season. So they really need a young edge rusher to build that defense around. Anderson's a safe pick to turn into a solid pro. Fourth overall, I have the Colts taking Anthony Richardson, quarterback from Florida. They need a future franchise quarterback. Richardson needs development. He's got to get more accurate in the short to intermediate part of the field. Definitely, this is a boom or bust pick, but the Colts have to get a quarterback, and Richardson has a huge amount of upside, so I could see him being their preference at 4 over Will Levis from Kentucky. Fifth overall, I have the Seahawks taking Jalen Carter, defensive tackle from Georgia. Sorry, guys, I've been sick lately, battling this horrible cough. Fifth overall, Jalen Carter to the Seahawks. They could use some more interior defensive line talent to go with Draymond Jones. They got to get more pass rush out of that front. With Draymond Jones and Jalen Carter, you'd have two interior pass rushers. You can't double team both of them. It's going to be really difficult for offenses. I really like that fit there for Seattle if they're okay with the character. And the Seahawks have taken guys with character issues in the past, so I could see where they'd be willing to work with Carter. Sixth overall, I have the Lions taking Christian Gonzalez, cornerback from Oregon. They signed Cam Sutton and Emmanuel Mosley, but they could use a true number one outside corner. Gonzalez has that ability in him. He's big, fast, athletic, can run the route, prevent separation. Think he could be their long-term number one and give the Lions defense a really important building block to go with Aiden Hutchinson. Seventh overall, I have the Raiders taking Will Levis, quarterback from Kentucky. They can sit him behind Jimmy Garoppolo for a year, let him develop, but obviously Garoppolo is not a long-term starter, just does not have that kind of durability within him to be a starter in the long haul. But at any rate, I definitely see that being a good pick there in terms of upside potential for the Raiders. With Levis, he's big, athletic, has a good arm, has to get better with the internal clock and getting the ball out and not holding it so long. But the talent is there for him to be a starter in the NFL. Eighth overall, I have the Falcons taking Tyree Wilson, edge rusher from Texas Tech. Obviously, Atlanta needs more talent on their defensive line. They need to get bigger, faster, more athletic, and they need more pass rush off the edge. Wilson could form a nice tandem with Arnold Ebiketie, second-round pick from a year ago. Ninth overall, I have the Bears taking Peter Skoronski, left tackle from from Northwestern. Thinking Paris Johnson for some reason, but Skoronski's from Northwestern, could be a plug-and-play upgrade for Chicago, give them a long-term blindside protector for Justin Fields. 10th overall, I have the Eagles taking Joey Porter Jr. They're able to bring back James Bradbury and keep Darius Slay, but both of them are veterans who are going to start declining. I think Joey Porter Jr. gives them a trio that they can start. That's obviously, you need a trio of good corners in the NFL. And then over time, you have a starter in place. So when Bradbury, Slay start declining, you can transition away and you already have a number one there in Joey Porter Jr. 11th overall, I have the Titans taking Devon Witherspoon, cornerback from Illinois. I think Roger McCreary had a solid rookie season. He's going to get better. Nice young player, but Caleb Farley has been just too injury prone and unreliable for the Titans. I think a new regime could grab another corner to go with McCreary. And if Caleb Farley can stay healthy finally, then they have a really good, talented young trio. But if he doesn't, now you have your two starters at least with McCreary and Witherspoon. 12th overall, I have the Texans taking Lucas Van Ness, defensive end from Iowa. The Texans have got to get in better front seven. That defensive line was terrible last year. They should have a lot of good options here at 12. 13th overall, I have the Jets taking Paris Johnson, left tackle from Ohio State. That would allow them to kick Mekhi Becton to the right side, giving them some two big athletic blind side and front side protectors for Aaron Rodgers, improve that offensive line for the veteran. 14th overall, I have the Patriots taking Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver from Ohio State. I think that this pick really makes a lot of sense in terms of giving New England a potential long-term number one. I think Juju Smith-Schuster is really more of a number two, number three receiver in the NFL, where Smith-Njigba has the upside to be a true number one for that offense, and they have to get more weapons for Mac Jones. 16th overall, this is a bit of a surprise pick. I have Washington taking Bijan Robinson, running back from Texas. Now, Robinson is the best player in the draft, in my opinion, and that's shared throughout the scouting community by a lot of sources. They feel that Robinson's the best player in the draft as well. So in some ways, it's hard to see him sliding this far, but the running back need fit just isn't really there until you get more into the teens. Washington doesn't have, it's not the biggest need on the team, but they could get better. Sam Howell or Jacoby Brissett's going to be the starter. Ron Rivera is in a critical year for keeping his job. No player could help the team more in terms of wins and losses at 16 than Bijan Robinson. He is an absolute stud runner, could be one of the best backs in the NFL as soon as his rookie season. So Rivera's on the hot seat. He was part of drafting Christian McCaffrey. Same with other guys in the front office. Marty Herney took running backs in the first round with Carolina. Martin Mayhew did that with the Lions when he was general manager there. They're old school football guys, so I don't think they're going to be buying into necessarily the analytic belief of passing on running backs. And I could definitely see Robinson being a plug-and-play upgrade. You got Antonio Gibson in the last year of his contract. The team kind of seemed to sour on him some last year. Brian Robinson could be a really nice number two back and a guy to rotate with Bijan and have a vigorous running game to go with a good defense. And this draft has some cornerback depth. They could come away with a pretty good corner in the second round. And if they miss out on the top three corners of Gonzalez, Joey Porter Jr., and Witherspoon, a cornerback that they would get here at 16 is really not much different than a corner that they would get in the second round. But huge difference with Bijan Robinson and what he could do for that team and how he could save some of their jobs. So I definitely could see where Bijan Robinson is high and mighty in a lot of draft discussions and arguments about why are we passing on the best player in the draft and not following the board, so to speak. So it'll be fascinating to me, but I think this is a sneaky pick that could end up happening, honestly. 17th overall, I have the Steelers taking Tyreek Stevenson, cornerback from Miami. Pittsburgh lost Cam Sutton. They needed cornerback help even before losing him, but they bring in Patrick Peterson to replace him, but they still need more long-term starting talent. 18th overall, I have the Lions taking Jahmyr Gibbs, running back from Alabama, the speedster, the explosive playmaker. Gibbs, like Bijan Robinson, those are two of the best players in the draft, regardless of position. They've graded out super high. I could definitely see Detroit taking a running back to go with David Montgomery. DeAndre Swift is on the last year of his contract. He's been too injury prone to keep and rely on in the long term. They could potentially trade him. I thought the Montgomery signing was really good. Smart move on Detroit's part. He's a more talented version of Jamal Williams in terms of a runner, and Montgomery offers more in the passing game. So I like that move by Detroit, but I think they could use another speedster, a home run hitter, a change up there, and I think Gibbs, with his pass catching ability, this explosive speed, ability to change a game in a single play, would be a dynamic presence behind that strong offensive line, and going with Jameson Williams. So now we are at 19th overall. I have the Bucs taking Dalton Kincaid, tight end from Utah. Tampa Bay's lost a lot of tight ends over the past couple years. Rob Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, letting go of Cameron Brate. Cade Otton, I think, showed potential as a rookie. I thought that was a nice pick for the Bucs, but I think they could use more talent to go with them. So with Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask, they got to help those guys out and give them another weapon at tight end. 20th overall, I have Seattle taking Myles Murphy, defensive end from Clemson. Give them an end to go with Jalen Carter, really beef up that defensive line. 21st overall, the Chargers taking Michael Mayer, tight end from Notre Dame. Give them a replacement for Gerald Everett. Lost Hunter Henry previously. Obviously, the Chargers have kind of been hodgepodging that position, but now you could get a long-term starter in Mayer. 22nd overall, I have the Ravens taking Quentin Johnston, wide receiver from TCU. Give them a big play weapon on the outside, a receiver with size and speed, downfield threat, but also a guy that can work underneath. Excuse me. In the possessional game. So, 23rd overall, I have the Vikings taking Jack Campbell, linebacker from Iowa, give them a replacement for Eric Kendricks. 24th overall, I have the Jaguars taking Keely Ringo, cornerback from Georgia, fits in with Tyson Campbell. They got rid of Shaq Griffin. They could use another cornerback there in Jacksonville. 25th overall, I have the Giants taking Jordan Addison, wide receiver from USC. Give them another playmaker for Daniel Jones, going with Paris Campbell and Darren Waller. They've had a really nice offseason there for the Giants. 26th overall, I have the Cowboys taking Zay Flowers, wide receiver from Boston College. Give them a playmaker and a scoring threat opposite CeeDee Lamb. 27th overall, I have the Bills taking Drew Sanders, linebacker from Arkansas. Really interesting pick. He's a dynamic edge rusher, so he could help them if, say, they had another injury to Von Miller. They lose Tremaine Edmonds, and Sanders can play some off-ball linebacker as well, so you can play him at Sam, play him with Matt Milano there on the inside, and you can kick Sanders over to being an edge rusher in the sub package. So just a lot of different things they could do there to kind of help that defense in the front seven. 28th overall, I have the Bengals taking Sam Laporta, tight end from Iowa. Really rising player. He did fabulous at the combine. His tape is really good. A number of teams have told me they wouldn't be surprised if he sneaks into the end of the first round. He'd be a really nice weapon in that Bengals offense with teams worried about the outside receivers. 29th overall, I have the Saints taking Mazi Smith, defensive tackle from Michigan. Give them a big body in the middle of that defense to really cause disruption and plug up running lanes. 30th overall, I have the Eagles taking Tuli Tuipulotu. I always screw with the name up here. Sorry about that. Tuli Tuipulotu. I try and say it too fast. That's a problem. But anyways, Tuipulotu be a really nice fit in Philadelphia, can play end and rundowns, can kick them inside to rush as a defensive tackle in the sub, versatile playmaker. They need some more young talent on that defensive line. Brandon Graham isn't going to be able to play forever, so here's an understudy and a potential long-term starter. At 31st overall, I have the Chiefs taking Nolan Smith, defensive end from Georgia. Give them a fast edge rusher to replace Frank Clark and go with George Karlaftis. All right, let's get to the teams that don't have first-round picks. First up, we have the Rams at 36. I have them taking Broderick Jones, left tackle from Georgia. I don't know if you guys were able to see, but I pumped out a lot of great reports from the combine in terms of inside information. While Jones has been getting mocked up high, I spoke to 7 different teams. None of them had a first-round grade on Jones. So they all had him graded on day 2. They also have character concerns with him. But they did say maybe he sneaks into the first because he plays a premium position. A few sources said that, and that makes sense because there isn't 32 players with first round grades, so you're going to get some guys that have been graded in round 2 that go in the opening night of the draft, and Jones is a candidate for that because he plays a premium position as a left tackle, also has a body that could profile inside to guard, so it's possible. But the Rams definitely need offensive line help. I think at 36 they're in a pretty good position there between guys like Jones, Darnell Wright from Tennessee, Osiris Torrance from Florida. They should have some good offensive line options there for a starter there for at 36. 42nd overall, I have the Browns taking Isaiah Foskey. Give them an end to pair with Myles Garrett and a guy that can get after the quarterback to replace Jadeveon Clowney. 51st overall, I have Miami taking Deion Henley, linebacker from Washington State. Give them a seek and destroy linebacker in the middle of their defense. Henley's a really good player, really underrated. Think he could turn into a really good pro. 68th overall, I have the Broncos taking Cam Smith, cornerback from South Carolina. Smith could go earlier, but he has massive character concerns. That was another one of the combine blogs that we hit on, so you can check those below. But he really, there's a lot of things with the background there and character that are concerning to teams, so wouldn't be surprising to me at all if he slides on day 2. And even his tape was solid, more of a day 2 pick rather than a true first rounder anyway. So for Denver, they could use more cornerback talent to go with Pat Surtain, and I think at that point of the draft, it's a nice risk for Denver to take a guy like Cam Smith and hope that they're getting a steal. Just have to be comfortable working with them. So that's this week's mock. It's 3 rounds long. You can check the other rounds here in the links. Otherwise, we got tons of draft content going up. Walt's free agent grades. We got the position rankings getting updated every week. Position reviews are going up. Interesting articles there where I kind of compare this year's class to last year, the safest picks, the bust pick, get into rankings by attribute. So for quarterbacks, for example, like ranking them by arm strength, by accuracy, running ability, things like that. So varies by position, but those are fun articles to write, and I get a lot of good feedback on them. So anyways, I hope you guys are doing well, enjoyed free agency, and getting ready for the draft. It's coming up quick. Can't wait to do some more videos. I got some more stuff coming in the hopper, so keep checking back here and follow along. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff, and please share the video with your friends and other fellow football fans. So appreciate that. Appreciate all of you guys for watching. You guys take care. Love to all of you. See ya.